Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pope.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Pope. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. We'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. We'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here. Today is the 16th of September, 2015 on the Gregorian calendar. We're making a transition. We're going from Libra as a moon sign into Scorpio as a moon sign. The transition takes place at 10:43 a.m. And our sun sign is the same as Virgo. So what we're dealing with is Virgo, Earth sign, the physical world, practical matters, the body, patience, timing, being neutral, walking the path, the middle path, and then, of course, with the lantern, shining the light for others to see. Okay? This is our moon sign for today. Scorpio. Scorpio is the tarot card of death. Why? Because Scorpio brings transformation, deep transformation, a death-like process. Doesn't mean somebody dies. This isn't a physical death. It deals with the world of water. So it's an emotional death. Okay? An emotional death. And emotions can really feel very heavy. And so when we have an emotional death, it can feel like it's more than it is. And the body feels it. But it's just something that it feels. Okay? So we're making a transition. Our emotions. With Scorpio, things and our emotions want to go deep into the deep, deep waters. Okay? The dark waters down below. And there's a lot of stuff in the dark. Some things good, some things not so good. That's what Scorpio. So these are the two we got together. We got earth, and we got water. Earth and water. Those two things can make mud. Or they can work together really nicely and provide a nice opportunity for us to express our emotions through the physical. But we need to really work, and that's our challenge for today. Okay? So you got that? Now, we go over to the Jewish calendar. Let's look at the date here. It is the third day of Tishri. Third day of Tishri. And the daily thought for today. Once I get to it here, it's Shofar. There are things that are important to us, so we speak about them. There are things so important to us that words flow out in a burst of emotion, rich words, expressive and vibrant. And then there are things that shake us to the core, things that do not care for the mind's permission or for the right words, or for the mind cannot fathom them. The most poignant words cannot contain them, things that can only break out in a cry, in a scream, and then in silence. This is the sound of the shofar, the very core of our souls crying, Father, Father. And with that, we are going to listen to the sound of the shofar this morning. All right, there you go. The sounding of the shofar, reminding us about the promise, reminding us that if we have faith, good things can happen. The shofar, the ram's horn, reminding us of the time when Isaac was being sacrificed, and the angels came, said, no, no, don't do that, and then a ram appeared. So it's symbol of mercy, God's mercy, that this happened. On the Dreamspell Oracle, today is a 10-tone day. 10 tones are called the planetary tones. This is the position right here of the 10th tone. So we're at the manifestation of synchronicity that we establish. So by just paying attention to the world around us, we start to find a process of moving through it smoothly. We have some synchronicity here in that the world bridger is the symbol for today. The world bridger is the one who is the bridger between life and death. Not too different from the card of death, or the idea of Scorpio, that change. So we're in synchronicity with what's going on. Some refinement is being done as we're learning to understand what this thing of life and death is all about. Timelessness is our guide for today. Vision is our hidden power. Exploration is our like-minded energy. And the warrior within us is our challenge today, to ask proper questions. The phrase for today is, I perfect in order to equalize producing opportunity. I seal the store of death with the planetary tone of manifestation. I'm guided by the power of timelessness. Okay, so that is the dream spell. And here we can see where we are in the Zolkin. All right, let's keep skipping around here. Okay, I'm just going to go on to the next one because apparently it doesn't want us to see that. But you understand what the day's about. You don't need to see the Zolkin. All right, waning moon or waxing moon, 10% of the way full, making our way up to the full moon. Space weather, solar wind currently at 458.7 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is currently, let's see what we got here, currently between a 2 and a 3. So that storm we had yesterday did subside. However, look at the size of this hole that's really opened up. Quite a large size coronal hole that's there. So the notification here is over the 16th to the 18th. We're going to be feeling an effect of that. M-class flare possibilities at 5%, going down to 1. X-class is at 1. Geomagnetic storm activity is lessening in the mid-latitudes, going from 30 down to 20. And in the upper latitudes, 45 down to 25. And last, looking up at the sky tonight, Cygnus overhead offers many sights for small telescopes, regardless if you can star hop to them with a good telescope, with fingerscope. Okay, and there you go. That's what's going on today. There's a lot more interesting news coming up. Hold on to your hats because I've got some things that you need to know today. Before we get to that, UFO news is up. Here we go.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. So we have several sightings today as usual. The first one here, shape-shifting UFO seen over New York City for 20 minutes. This took place on September 12th. There's our object in question. And as I go through here, you'll be able to see the various shapes that this thing took on. That's kind of an interesting looking one. Okay. So this was 20 minutes over New York. Now, I'm not sure. You know, some days there just seems to be more garbage that just locks things up online. Now, I'm sure the scientists among you provide me with whatever reasonable explanation there is, provided that meteors or distant planets or nuclear explosions of space can be thought of as reasonable. I myself was somewhat sleep deprived and looked upon whatever phenomena was occurring as a sense of mystical appreciation and wonder. Perhaps it's a planet, since Venus and Jupiter and Mars are visible this month in the eastern sky. Perhaps it is a star, and that is what a nuclear explosion in space looks like, which also might make sense. Maybe it's a meteor flying through space. It does look like a planet for a while at least, and then it changes, becomes more liquid, becomes more fiery, seems to breathe and change shape, and does appear to be burning and sort of beating like a heart. Okay, and then it becomes more molecular, changing shapes again and so on. At one point I had it concluded the video was uploaded. So here's the object, and this is the one. You saw all the pictures. Okay, I'm going to leave that for you so you can check it out. And we're moving on to the next one here. UFO follows Argentina pilgrims during a 290-kilometer walk. There's the group. You can see the UFO in the background there. A UFO accompanies pilgrims in a photo shared on Facebook at the presence of a foreign object of mine workers' hammer was observed, believe or bust. The truth is that the picture that you shared in the social network prayed the presence of an unidentified flying object with a group of pilgrims was detected. In the stunning image, mine workers' hammer appear above them and can be seen in this object, according to the one who posted it. I did not have it in mind. Mine workers' hammer launched on Wednesday an exhausted journey of 290 kilometers that separates the corner of Puna to over 3,000 meters above sea level in the capital. A gazette consulted by women who published a photo. In your mind also there's no drones. Okay, so very interesting. Okay, and again there's the group. Let's go on to the next sighting. This one isn't really a sighting so much as it is a movie quote. But I thought this was pretty fascinating. That's why I'm telling you the story. Remember the movie Easy Rider? If you haven't seen it, go check it out. One of Jack Nicholson's early movies, along with Dennis Hopper. Okay, I got some good screenshots here from it. It says, how do you pass on a message about aliens to millions all at the same time without having the government men stop you? Movies, right? Well, they did just that in the American classic movie Easy Rider. Apparently, one of the writers got some inside information about aliens because every freaking word that Jack Nicholson says is 100% on the mark. I could find no flaws in anything he said. I can find dozens of references of evidence to back up every accusation he has made. There were 3 writers of the script, Dennis Hopper, Peter Fonda, and Terry Southern. One of these people had inside information about aliens and how they are influencing the world today. And they knew about everything I already said, but even today most people don't know even 5% of it. So how did they know it then? Every word, every nuance was logically written to expose the alien influence over the last 70 years. In this scene, and I'm going to leave that for you to play, but in the scene Jack Nicholson explains how aliens have influenced humanity over the last 70 years and how humanity will grow because of it. When Jack finishes, they look down at his joint and are in awe because he hadn't been smoking it and it went out. This is a rare Easter egg hidden in one of the most legendary movies in American history. Okay, so if you've seen that movie, you might recall that scene. Golden sphere over Sevastopol, Russia, the 15th of September. There you go, an interesting sighting of a bright golden orb in the daytime sky above Sevastopol in Russia. So it was just filmed on the 15th the other day. It's a nice, good orb. All right. And let's move on to the last of these UFO stories for today. And that is this one here. If we can get to it. So, mass UFO sightings over Los Angeles. Okay. It says this video shows the incredible moment that a group of bystanders at the Griffith Observatory saw not one but 2 UFOs hovering above Los Angeles. All right. And unfortunately, I'm having some issues with this particular video, so I'm not going to be able to play that for you. But I'm just going to have to leave that for you so you can check it out. And I'm going to jump away to a song. And when I come back, hopefully I'll have this issue resolved. This song here, we're going to go to confirm or deny. Now, you know what? Wake up, because the stuff that I'm going to tell you is going to require you to wake up to hear this. All right? Here we go. Wake up.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of them.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're illusion from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brother's watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What if I land and two if I see? And I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
All right. It is time to demand the truth. Okay, we're still in the month of September. We've made it past some of the days that we were wondering about. We made it past the 13th, the 14th, the 15th, and here we are at the 16th. But we still have ahead of us some of these other dates of concern. The 23rd, we still have the meeting with Obama and the Pope. And then, of course, we have the next day Pope talking to Congress. And then we have the Pope at the UN. And we have the UN having a peace meeting. All kind of stuff going on. And then, of course, as I showed you the other day, there's the rumor about the asteroid that might hit in the end of this month on the 28th of September. Now, I don't know what's real or what's not anymore. There's so much nonsense that's out there. You know, there was in the National Defense Authorization Act that was signed by Obama on New Year's Eve when people were out partying, he signed an act that made it so that propaganda could be used against the American people, which means that they could lie to you And it's okay. So with that being the case, it's hard to tell when they're putting information out what's truth or what's lies. Now I'm going to show you some more how things have evolved from there, okay? The Antichrist has been busy. Who is the Antichrist? Well, I'm going to show you a picture of him. You can see him right behind me. There you go. I'm not going to mince any words. This guy is an evil man. What did he just do? Oh, well, I'm sure you're going to really enjoy hearing this. President Obama orders behavioral experiments on the American public. President Obama announced a new executive order on Tuesday which authorized federal agencies to conduct behavioral experiments on U.S. citizens in order to advance government initiatives. A growing body of evidence demonstrates that behavioral science insights research findings from fields such as behavioral economics and psychology about how people make decisions and act in them can be used to design government policies to better serve the American people, reads the executive order released Tuesday. The new program is the end result of a policy proposed that the White House floated in 2013 entitled Strengthening the Federal Capacity for Behavioral Insights. According to a document released by the White House at that time, the program was modeled on one implemented in the UK in 2010. That initiative created a behavioral insights team which used iterative experimentation to test interventions that will further advance priorities of the British government. The initiative draws on research from the University of Chicago economist Richard Thaler and Harvard Law School professor Cass Sunstein. Okay, we've heard these people's names, and they were some of the evil people that were brought in to help the evil Antichrist do his work and do his bidding. You see how all these people work together? These slimy individuals. Okay. So, are you ready to be experimented on? Because guess what? Doesn't matter if you voted for Obama, if you're a liberal or you're a Democrat, you're one of the American people who's going to be experimented on. So how's your vote going for you now? I know the votes don't matter, but a lot of people were hoodwinked into believing that this guy was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Told you. He's going to betray you. He's betraying everybody. This man is the Antichrist. But let's see. Let me just see, because some of you might say, oh, behavioral studies, psychology, no problem. No problem. So let's take a look at some of the other behavioral experimentation that has taken place in the past and see if we can put the pieces together. Remember, all information is a dot. We're looking to connect the dots. Let's look at this first one here. This one is entitled MK Ultra. CIA admits behavioral engineering on people. Well, we've all heard of the MK Ultra program. This may not be old information, but many people have yet to hear about the Project MK Ultra. It was a name for a previously classified research program through the CIA's Scientific Intelligence Division. It was on the CIA's program of research and behavioral modification on human beings that's now declassified. The United States government even issued a national apology for the program while Bill Clinton was in office. We often hear stories about mind control and human experimentation without really considering the reality behind the phenomena. Is it really that hard to believe? Scientific experimentation is not only limited to animals. It can be hard to fathom that there are organizations on the planet that would actually subject human beings to experimentation, torture, and more in order to manipulate people's individual mental states, as well as to alter brain functions. If you step outside of yourself and you look at the planet from an external perspective, we have an energy industry that thrives off of oil and suppression of clean zero-point energy. We have a health industry that thrives off of genetic engineering of our food, big pharmaceutical companies, and the suppression of cures. We have a small group of multinational corporations that own the media and all industries mentioned above. What's even more revealing is that all of the money goes into the Department of Defense, and the intelligence agency is connected to all of these industries that govern our planet. It is evidently clear that the ones who we give our power to over so easily do not have our best interest at hand and are searching for information and methods in order to control and manipulate the population. In my opinion, TV, mass media, and other forms of pop culture are branches of the MK Ultra program. Most programs within the military-industrial complex. Here it says the reappearance of reports of the abuses of the drug testing program and reports of other previously unknown drug programs and projects for behavioral control underline the necessity for effective oversight procedures both in the executive branch and Congress. Now, most programs within the military-industrial complex have zero oversight by Congress. Although the program began in the 50s, it was not until the late 70s when the Freedom of Information Act uncovered thousands of documents that shed light on MK Ultra. I don't think it's logical to assume that human experimentation was stopped. I wonder what is happening in those deep underground military bases, don't you? The ones who control the government and thus the intelligent agencies as well as the military do not really care for human beings. Human experimentation and genetic experiments continue to this day in deep underground military bases. The medical trials at Nuremberg in 1947 revealed experimentation with human subjects unknowingly is morally and legally unacceptable. Nuremberg was used to persuade the population that human experimentation was over, but it still goes on today. Bill Clinton's apology to the nation was used also for the same purpose, to make the population think that human experimentation is a thing of the past. You can view his apology in the list of sources at the bottom of the article. The United States Military Tribunal established the Nuremberg Code. It was a standard to judge German scientists who experimented with human subjects. It's funny how the United States NASA program was created by German scientists. Did you get that last part? That NASA was created by German scientists. So we've got a program that has experimented on people in the past unknowingly. There's plenty of books out there that you can read about what happened, about people who are unknowingly drugged and then subjected to a variety of tests, from electrical tests where they were shocked to all kind of other bizarre tests. There was one gentleman who committed suicide through the process, and the program was kind of hush-hush, but it's still going on. So let's see someplace else where there was behavioral manipulation. Here's more about MK Ultra. It's called The People's History. In the 50s and early 60s, the agency gave mind-altering drugs to hundreds of unsuspecting Americans in an effort to explore the possibilities of controlling human consciousness. Many of the human guinea pigs were mental patients, prisoners, drug addicts, and prostitutes, people who would not fight back. As one agency officer put it, in one case, a mental patient in Kentucky was dosed with LSD continuously for 174 days. MK Ultra is the code name given to a CIA research operation into the biological behavioral engineering, also known as mind control. Many people are familiar with the operation, but incorrectly assume that it was limited to LSD research. While there were plenty of resources devoted to the LSD research, it was only one area of the vast field of mind control operations. MK Ultra researcher Ike Feldman said himself that the LSD was just the tip of the iceberg. Espionage, assassinations, dirty tricks, drug experiments, sexual encounters, and the study of prostitutes for clandestine use. This is what I was doing when I worked for George White and the CIA. Okay, we got a lot more to this article here. A lot more. This was an experimentation that was done on the American people without them knowing. So now we have an executive order that was signed by Obama to experiment on the people. How you like Obama now? He's just showing his true colors more and more every day. And look, it's the month of September when people said all kind of wacky things would go on. Now, this guy it's just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Here's another place where there was some mind control. Nazi mind control. Project Monarch, the evolution of Project MK Ultra. Amid the subtle, cerebral circumvention of the gullible populace through a multitude of manipulated mediums lies one of the most diabolical atrocities perpetuated upon a segment of the human race, a form of systematic mind control which has permeated every aspect of society for almost 50 years. To objectively ascertain the following, one may need to re-examine preconceived ideologies relating to the dualistic nature of mankind. Resolving the philosophical question of whether we are inherently good or inherently evil is tantamount in shaping our perception of reality, specifically the spiritual viable within the equation of life. The exposition is substantiated by declassified U.S. government documents, individuals formally connected with the U.S. intelligence communities, historical writings, researchers knowledgeable in mind control, publications from mental health practitioners, and interviews taken from survivors unwittingly subjected to a highly complex form of trauma-based mind control known as Monarch programming. A word of caution for survivors of intensely systematic mind control and or some form of ritualized abuse. There are numerous triggers in this article. It is therefore recommended not to read it unless appropriate support systems are in place and you have a thoroughly integrated personality. And just so I don't trigger anybody, I'm going to leave you to read that article. So if you happen to flip out, you'll do so in the comfort of your own home. Now, is this a surprise to me? No. Is this a surprise to others who understand how evil Obama and this administration is? No. But to many, they will be surprised. And I know that there's going to be many who believe this man is the best thing since sliced bread. I believe that many of these supporters of his are going to think and make excuses for this program. They should be the first ones to volunteer. As a matter of fact, I think all Democrats and liberals who voted for Obama should volunteer for his behavioral programs, just to show how much you really believe in this man that you love and support so much. That's the best way to show it. But I know you're not going to do it because I know that there's a lot of really wimps out there amongst the Democratic and the liberal side of life, as well as there are in the Republican and conservative side. They just weren't the ones who put and voted and loved this man so much and think he's so wonderful. But now he wants to experiment on the people. You know, are you seeing what's going on? NDAA said all Americans were subject to be domestic terrorists and could be subject to prison indefinitely without trial. That's what Obama signed. Now he signs this one. If we look at his other executive orders, this man is not a friend of America. This man is betraying America. He has set forth to destroy this country. That was his objective, and he has done a great job. Shame on all of the Americans who support him and have stood by and cheered while he has destroyed this country. Shame on all of you. You should know better, but you don't. The book of Revelation, the book of prophecy that we have, many books of prophecy that are out there, let us know about these times. Okay? So for those who are paying attention, the Christians, the people who are connected with God, are you seeing what's going on here now? Because now it is time that we have to just disregard the idiots. Because there's no sense. If you're in a situation, who are you going to follow? The idiot who's going to guide you in the wrong place, or the person who's going to be sensible? The person who's going to be sensible, which hopefully is each one of us. Each one of us thinking for ourselves. So we need to really get clear and get right with God, because all of this evil and nonsensical agenda that is being pushed to control people's minds, to push the gay, lesbian, transgender agendas on the American people, to try to take away our guns, to try to do everything that is against the Constitution, the country's being torn apart. Founding fathers are rolling in their graves. So where's this all going to lead? I don't know. But this month of September, we were told that there were going to be some very strange things that were occurring. And I'd say that the fact that the president signed an executive order giving, saying that Americans can be experimented on, I'd say that's a pretty big one, don't you? So, to all of you who are paying attention, let's dig in even deeper with our paying attention now. Okay? To those who aren't, nothing we can do about them. There's going to be a lot of people who aren't paying attention, a lot of people who are going to be caught like a deer in the headlights when everything goes down and when all the things start acting wacky in the world. But those who are paying attention, and we know from the books of prophecy, like the book of Revelations, that those numbers are going to be very small. What we're going to find out is there's been a lot of people who have talked a big game about Jesus. And when the time comes, we're going to find out that all their words were just words. And we're going to find out that there's a minority of those who actually truly believe what they say and are going to stand by Jesus, stand by God. But most people will turn their back as they're doing right now. And so when things really get bad and when we get smacked really hard, we have no one to blame but ourselves because we've allowed this. Every time a stupid policy comes out and Americans go along with that policy, we're just making ourselves dumber. Every time we continue to help promote the evil agenda that is being pushed, we're only dumbing ourselves down. Where are we going to be years from now? Where are we going to be when it's determined and it's found out that the population has dropped because society has been encouraged to be gay or lesbian and they can't have babies? Oh, maybe that's the idea, to depopulate society. So you convince them to get together in ways that aren't going to procreate. I think we need to think here. I'm not concerned anymore about the people who aren't interested in paying attention. Not even interested, even a little bit. Because things are happening fast and furious in this world, and I'd rather pay attention, and I'd rather be right with God than be all worried about what man thinks about anything. Okay? Because man is really kind of in a dire situation. Because man is following other man who's not knowing where he's going. And as long as we continue to follow evil leaders, which are on both sides of the fence, we're going to continue to go the wrong direction. But we have an opportunity. So here's our opportunity. There's a fork in the road. And the fork in the road says we could go down this path and follow the abomination down that way. Or we could go down this way and we could follow the path of God. See, it's either God or it's Obama. They're not part of the same breath. Okay? You don't follow Obama and you don't follow God. It's not the same. You either follow Obama or you follow God. Period. And if you haven't figured that out yet, then guess what? You're one of the people who are just going to get left behind, and I don't really need to explain anymore because you're not going to get it if you haven't gotten it by now. I know I'm on a little rant today, but you know what? We need to hear this. We are hurting ourselves. This is a self-inflicted wound that is taking place in this country because people are being stupid. I read a story this morning that Whataburger in Texas, the manager refused service to 2 police officers who went in to eat food. This was just within the last 24 hours. Now there's a huge uproar. You're probably going to hear about this today. What's going on with people? Don't they realize that, yes, there are some police officers who are out of control, but that number is probably small comparison to the ones who are out there trying to do good? So how could this franchise decide that they are going to do this? Now I'm going to backtrack because it wasn't the whole franchise. It was one idiot at this particular franchise. This guy should be fired. Fired, gone today. Horrible. Because what happens if Whataburger gets robbed? They're going to want to have the police come there, right? They're going to want to have the police go there to protect them. But will the police who have been turned away from there want to go there and protect them? I wouldn't if I was an officer. I would just tell them to go screw themselves and not even think twice about it. And if they get robbed, they get robbed. That's just kind of the way it is. You know, we're living in the Wild West now, my friends. And when we have so much stupidity in the world, we have to fend for ourselves. Fend for ourselves or listen to the idiots. The choice is ours. Each one of us. Okay? So, I've done my rant. I've showed you what's going on. It's up to you what you're going to do. I know what I'm going to do. It's up to you what you're going to do. And I'm pretty certain if you're listening to this show, I'm pretty certain I know what you're going to do too, because you wouldn't be listening to this show if you were closed-minded or if you were offended by the things I was saying. So let's move down that path, the path that's least taken. Let's move down that path away from all of the nonsense, because that's what's required at this point in time. That is what is required. All right, let's switch gears. Article at In5D. Can our bodies predict the future? By Tia Ghosh. People's bodies know a big event is coming just before it happens, at least according to a new study. If true, the research published in the journal Frontiers of Perception suggests something fundamental about the laws of nature yet to be discovered. The claim is that events can be predicted without any clues, says Julia Mossbridge, a Northwestern University neuroscientist who co-authored the study. The evidence suggests the effect is real but small, so the question is, how does it work? Other scientists are skeptical of this interpretation. However, they suggest some bias in which studies get published could play a role in seeing an effect where there is none. Real effect? Many studies have shown that physical responses, including heart rate, pupil dilation, and brain activity, change between 1 and 10 seconds before people see a scary image. In most of these experiments, frightening pictures were randomly interspersed with more neural ones, so the theory participants didn't have any clues about which photo would pop up next. But because the findings seemed so unnatural, those studies were understandably met with skepticism. To see whether the effect was real, Mossbridge and her team analyzed over 24 of these studies. As part of the analysis, they threw out any experiments in which they saw bias or flaws. They still found a presentiment effect in which measures of psychological or excitement changed seconds before an event. The findings suggest that people's bodies subconsciously sense the future when something important is about to happen, even if the people don't know it. For instance, if you were a day trader betting lots of money on stock, 10 seconds before you might predict your stock tanking. Okay? So, good article. Says it's all possible. Says between psychology labs and parapsychology investigations, I can imagine this many failed experiments that go unreported easily. All right, I'm going to leave the article for you to really peruse through it again. Back in the past, we didn't have so much technology, and when we didn't have all of this technology, we were more tuned into our senses. So we were easily able to determine if something was going to go on. Nowadays, we don't have that same ability because we're not encouraged to strengthen those psychic muscles. Society doesn't encourage that. There are some places where you can go and you can study, but that's not the norm. But in the past, that's how we lived. By telepathy, by understanding, by our bodies feeling and sensing things. And those who use their bodies to sense and feel what's going on in the world, they understand things a little better. They move through life a little bit better. But we have to be able to learn to feel the energy and not just feel it when it's all blocked up. So we got a lot of challenges, and it all starts in here. We're the ones we've been waiting for. The answers we want are inside, but we have to be strong enough to go in and find them. And if we're not willing to go look inside, we may not ever find them because they're hidden in a place that most people aren't going to look, which is inside of themselves. Funny, huh? Very funny. All right, here's a message today. It's from the angels. Here we go. The angels.
September 12th, 2015, by Ann Albers.
The angels.
My dear friends, we love you so very much. Self-love is not selfish, dear ones. Self-love is an acknowledgement of the beautiful divine love that creates you, a state of living in truth, a life in which you say, yes, to God, yes to self, yes to the universe. It is a state of being in which you acknowledge the fact that you were created by a love so pure and powerful that you could not possibly be flawed in any way. You are having human experiences. You are learning, growing, and sometimes in your human terms, not ours, failing. We do not see any of this as anything else other than an attempt to find your way back to truth. When you fall, get up and say, I tried. When you fail, move on and say, I tried. I am learning. When you see you could have done better in life, celebrate. You tried. You are learning. Dear ones, in our eyes you cannot ever diminish the truth of your being. You cannot ever lose our love, God's love, or the love from which you are made. You can either feel it or not, connect with it, or not, but you can never lose you. You are amazing beings of pure light, and you are all, no matter what, just doing your best, trying to find your way back to that truth. God bless you. We love you so very much. The angels.
All right, nice, short, love-filled message from the angels. Very nice. You know, if we focus on the positive is going to happen. Remember, the Bible says there's a new heaven and a new earth. It talks about a separation of the wheat from the chaff. In the stories we hear from Dolores Cannon and her daughter, they tell a story about this second earth that's been created, another dimensional earth that's pulling apart, and she even describes our world pulling apart. And that one world is going to be a lower vibrational world, kind of like it is now. Another world is going to be a higher vibrational world, where those who wish to move with that to the higher vibration are going to move along there. So there will be those who will continue to go, and they'll live the life of war and all the nonsense that goes with it, because that's what they choose. But there will be those who are going to go the other path as well, because they choose that one. It's all up to us, my friends. It's up to us. But we have to determine who we're going to listen to. First person we should listen to is ourselves. But outside of ourselves, we should be consulting with God. We should be connected with God to understand that that is the source of all things. See, the fabric of life is made up of the essence of God. Every aspect of your being is made up of the fiber of this God. The fabric of God is what your body is made out of, what your soul, what all of your dimensional levels are. So if you deny that, you're pretty much denying your own existence, who you are. But if you honor and acknowledge that, you'll find wonderful things going on in your life, because you're in sync with how things move. Remember this last week, the Kybalion. These are very specific principles. Everything is mental. We live in a mental universe. Everything that's going on is a situation of the mind. And all aspects of the mind correspond with themselves, from the highest to the lowest. And that all aspects of this mind vibrate. Everything moves. Everything moves back and forth from polarity to polarity. Everything moves in rhythm as it moves from polarity to polarity. All movements and activities cause an effect to happen. And all of this is taken and completed through the principle of gender. The principle of gender is male and female. Male and female. That's the 7 principles of Kybalion. There's 7 principles that explain how life operates. If you choose to follow other principles or throw some of them out, you don't have the full picture, because that's the whole picture. Okay? Life is very specific. Creating life is very specific. You need a male and you need a female. And you put those together and you create life. 2 males don't create life. 2 females don't create life. You need a male and a female. That's the way that the Creator made things. We are so out of whack with our understanding down here that now we are creating all of these other subsets of males and females as if this really exists. We're just delusions, delusional realities. Remember, first principle, it's all a mind. It's all a mind. So when somebody tells you they identify with something, they are saying that their mind identifies, not their body, their mind, because we're in a mental universe. The mind can be very powerful, and the mind obviously is very powerful, that a person could look in the mirror and see one physical form, and their mind tells them there's something else. I think that's a system that's out of balance. I think that that person needs to be in balance. Because God made it very simple. He made the plumbing very simple. You got an innie, you're a woman. You got an outie, you're a man. Period. You want to change the way it works? That's up to you. But I'm going to follow the way that God set it up and the way things happen there. And if you want to criticize me for what I'm saying, tell you what, don't even bother. Don't even waste your time. And more importantly, don't waste my time. Rather, go out there and think for yourself and figure these things out. And when you can take two men and you can put two men together and make a baby, you come back and you tell me the process of that happened, because then that'll be a miracle. Or when you can put two women together and make a baby with two women, you come back and you tell me how that works. But don't waste my time giving me all kind of nonsensical excuses or reasons why we have to accept all of this. God made it very simple. There's males and there's females. Period. Okay? I'm going to move on from there. And I'm sure I'll hear from some of you about this. And you know what? I don't care. Don't care. I follow God. I don't follow the laws and the rules of man. I follow the rules of God. Period. If you don't like it, you know what? You can put on another show. Because I don't follow anything else. I follow God. And I know many of you too, so we just need to stay strong, keep affirming to each other, and be strong in there, because the influence of darkness is all around. We can feel it, we can see it. Okay? This is the Warrior of the Light today, page 108. A warrior knows when a battle is worth fighting. He bases his decisions on inspirations and faith. He nevertheless meets people who ask him to fight battles that are not his own, on battlefields that he does not know or which do not interest him. They want to involve the Warrior of Light in contests that are important to them, but not to him. Often these people close to the Warrior of Light, people who love him and trust in his strength and who want him in some way to ease their anxieties. At such moments he smiles and makes it clear to them that he loves them, but he does not take up the challenge. A true Warrior of Light always chooses his own battlefield. Always chooses his own battlefield. And you see how this can apply in this day and age? Okay, there's a lot of fights we could have in the world. There's a lot of thoughts in the world, a lot of agendas being pushed out into the world. But ultimately, we have to go inside of ourselves and decide what is right for us, and not be concerned in getting involved with all of these other fights and these other battles outside, because that's what we've been doing for a long time. Oh, we got to go fight this country, and so we get all hepped up and we go out there and we fight. But one of the commandments is thou shalt not kill. So why would we go and follow a man who says go to a war and fight and kill people when God says don't do that? Why? Directly against what God said. Okay? It's been going on for a long, long time, friends. This is serious. So if you're a warrior, then you're going to follow your path, and you're not going to be swayed by all of the agendas and the propaganda which is being thrown at people. And now with the behavioral stuff, you better be on point. You better be paying attention, because this world around you has lots of agendas and propagandas and lies and deceitfulness and rumors that want to ensnare you. So if you want to stay out of that trap, you better pay attention. You better remain faithful. You better remain faithful towards God, and you better just walk the path. Walk the correct path of righteousness. Okay? Don't listen to what man says. Listen to what God says. The Antichrist is in office. America, unfortunately, I never thought in my lifetime I would see America collapse, but I'm watching America collapse. And it's been going on for years. It's not just this administration. It's been going on and on. So, as warriors, we need to understand where are we in this process. Things are collapsing all around us. We need to be aware and ready. It's all up here, man. It's all up here. All right? And last, now that we've gone through that, now that I've given you all my rants and everything for today, let's go over and do our meditation for today. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath and exhale. And another deep breath and exhale again. And another deep breath and exhale. And with each breath you take, I want you to feel the connection that you have to the Creator. Feel the connection you have at your smallest little place in this area to the largest aspect of God. Think of it like a drop of water from the ocean has all the qualities of the ocean, but is not the whole ocean. So we are all drops of God, aspects of divinity. So feel that. Feel that divinity within you and allow it to come forward. Allow that feeling of divinity to fill your entire body as you connect with the essence of who you are. And in connecting with that essence, our eyes open that we walk the path that God has laid before us, and we avoid the path that man has erroneously set before us. And as we move through life, walking the path of divinity, walking the path of God, we find that life becomes much more understandable. And from this place we have compassion for all of those who are trapped in the ways of humanity, who are trapped in the ways of following man. And we have compassion, and we send light and love out to all of those individuals around the world that they might free themselves from the bondage that they are imposing upon themselves. So let's imagine this powerful wave of light going around the planet filled with strength and love. And let's just imagine all those people around the planet who are shackled and chained. Let's imagine their chains become loosened and they become free. And let's just see what the world is like when people are standing in their own strength, recognizing their divinity and free from the bondage of their own ignorance. So let the subconscious mind continue on that journey. And let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's it. Thank you for being patient with me through my rant. You know, some days you just see the news and it's just irritating what's going on out there. And I just have to express it. So thank you for listening and indulging me. Have an awesome day. I'll be back tomorrow. I love you. Keep loving each other. Peace. I'm out of here.